right, let's now bring in political analyst Xolani Dube to speak to us about the election manifestos delivered this weekend and looking at the ANC manifesto, which is indeed coming up this afternoon at 5 p.m. in Tshwane. A very good afternoon to you, Mr. Dube. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show, and thanks as always for agreeing to speak to us.
Let me humble myself to you, Flo, as well as to the viewers.
Well, we're expecting, of course, the ANC's manifesto this afternoon at 5 p.m. Indeed, the build-up at this time. So, as we do so, maybe you can weigh in on what you're expecting to come out of the ANC this afternoon that could perhaps be different from other election manifestos. I mean, the ANC has certainly given a lot of promises in the past, and there's always a question of whether they're delivering or not. And certainly in past years, they've said keep us in power so that we can continue. Or where we are. I mean, what are you expecting?
I think we are supposed to expect another dish out of invisible gift from the governing party, because we know very well that what they are going to say is not going to translate into reality. And so that's why I'm saying these are just invisible gifts, meaning that they will be giving us an illusion. They will be unleashing us into the mirage of hope, knowing very well that what they are telling us is not going to happen.
Yeah, it's certainly the battle of the manifestos then, and we heard the opposition parties' election manifestos this past weekend. Do you suppose that the ANC will stick to their guns and they're all sort of promises, or try to, or seek to perhaps, weigh up to where the opposition parties were? It seems that many of the opposition parties, brought in a lot this past weekend.
Look, Flo, let's start from here. There are no political organization in our country. And two, we have to accept that the umbilical cord, is still attached to those who fund the ANC. And so the dependency is still intact. And I don't think that the ANC is going to move away from the script that has been scripted by their handlers. And so we, as I've said, we need not to have high hopes, because they'll come back again after 5 years, dishing out the same invisible gift that have been dishing it out for the past 27 years. And so I don't think that really we have to think that there will be any difference in our country. As I've said, there are no political party, but what we just have one hegemonic, what I can call it, political merchants, who are there to serve the interest of their handlers.
Well, we're a few weeks away from the local government elections then, and people will certainly be, looking very closely as to how the ANC performs, given the tensions and the factional battles, if one can call it that we've kind of witnessed throughout this time leading up to those elections. Will those have any sort of impact on the ANC? Will the results show that indeed there's been some tensions within this party?
But the results of the elections are not the reflection of the people who have voted. The results of the election is the reflection of the ruling class. If the ruling class still feels that the ANC is still relevant for its for its agenda, the ANC is still going to be at the helm of administrating the native in this country. But if the ANC is no longer relevant, as you have seen it where they attempted to remove it during the time of Jacob Zuma in the last election, where they were experimenting with their coalition government in Tshwane, in Johannesburg, and in Nelson Mandela. And so, look, currently the person who's at the helm of the ANC, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa, I think he is the darling of the ruling class. And so, possibly the ruling class might protect him, and then the ANC, we might see it winning some of these strategic colonial cities, of which is Johannesburg, KwaZulu-Natal, and Free State, but not the Western Cape, because we know it very well that the Western Cape is an enclave of the colonial masters.
Yeah. All right, Xolani Dube, thanks very much. We'll certainly be catching up with you, certainly as we take a look at the election manifestos, but also as we lead up to those elections. Thanks so very much for being with us here on SABC News this afternoon.
Thanks a lot, Flo.
All right, that is Xolani Dube, political analyst, as of course we anticipate and to wait for the ANC manifesto, which will be right here at 5 p.m. broadcast for you.